Good day. I've always had a soft spot for epic historical drama series on TV, going back to the 1970s and 80s, with shows such as I, Claudius, Roots, Shogun, Lonesome Dove, and then later on Rome, Deadwood, and Band of Brothers, and many others. Shows that are not necessarily just about the historical times themselves, but about the impact on a group of characters living through those times. I just had the pleasure to complete watching a Korean show that, in my opinion, is the equal of those, and in fact is one of the best historical dramas ever made, Mr. Sunshine. Recently, with the dearth of quality original material coming out of the Anglosphere, I have turned elsewhere in the world for engaging entertainment, and one nation that is producing a ton of interesting and entertaining movies and TV shows is South Korea. Mrs. Rockfan and I have watched many Korean shows in the last 2 years and thoroughly enjoyed them. And on this channel, I like to talk about the things I enjoy, not the negative. Mr. Sunshine left such an emotional impression on us that I just had to make a video about it. So here it is. I will attempt to avoid spoilers as much as possible, by the way. First, the basics. The show was broadcast in Korea in 2018 on TVN and was a joint production with Netflix, where it can be seen internationally, such as Netflix Canada, where we watched it. There are 24 episodes, all of which are roughly an hour and 15 minutes long. Now, the show can best be described as a historical romance drama, but it also contains its share of action and comedic moments too. It is set in the late 19th and early 20th century in the waning years of the Joseon dynasty, which comprised much of modern Korea and had existed for over 500 years. Towards the end of the 19th century, Joseon was reluctantly coming out of a long period of isolation and was being assailed by imperial powers trying to gain influence and control over its economic development. America, Russia, China, France, Britain, and most significantly Japan were all competing over its fate. Joseon was struggling to retain its independence, and its people were struggling to survive and stay free. Now, there's a lot about this history I did not know, and it's been fascinating studying it. The show opens with the bitter Battle of Ganghwa in 1871, where America fought the Joseon army over the fate of a grounded US ship. Through this, and in the aftermath, we are introduced to some main characters before the story advances 25 years. We follow many interlocked characters who we grow to love or hate. The 5 principal leads are beautifully written. They are all quite different people with very different plans, but gradually end up with a similar vision and a close bond. An actor familiar to Western audiences is Byung-hun, who has starred in G.I. Joe, Terminator Genesis, and The Magnificent Seven, and he plays Eugene Choi, a child of murdered serfs who escapes Joseon to America, but returns years later as a US Marine captain and the acting US consul to Joseon. And his initial attitude to Joseon is one of disdain until he meets Go E-shin. Go E-shin is a Joseon noblewoman whose parents were part of the Righteous Army fighting for Joseon independence and were killed when she was young. She grows in turn to become a member of the Righteous Army and an expert sniper, and she is played with a combination of endearing charm and steely determination by Kim Tae-ri, who I had previously seen in the excellent Space Sweepers. She is magnificent as Asian. Yeon-seok plays Yakuza leader Gu Dong-mei. Son of a poor and despised couple of butchers, like Eugene, he fled Joseon as a child when his parents were murdered. But unlike Eugene, he headed to Japan, where he became a samurai and a Yakuza. He returns to Joseon to help the Japanese oppression, but then encounters Ae-shin, who helped him escape when he was young. And this stirs something in him. Byung-hun plays Kim Hyo-song, a rich and pleasure-loving nobleman who is hiding in Japan to avoid the stifling responsibilities of his family. He is engaged to Ae-shin in an arrangement between the families, and on returning to Joseon, he realizes just what a special woman she is. So these three men are all drawn to Ae-shin, but she only has room in her heart for one, and she has a burning mission to defend Joseon above all. Fifth member of the principal cast is a fascinating character, perhaps the most intriguing in the show, Kudo Hina, played by Kim Min-jung. She plays the owner of the main hotel in Hanseong, which is present-day Seoul, and is ideally placed to interact and learn all about the rich, famous, and important people who stay at her hotel, Eugene, Hui-song, and Dong-mei included. She has ties to one of the principal villains in the show, and it's hard at first to determine her position. She is a wonderful and intriguing character, not to mention an expert swordswoman. The story is deep, satisfying, and sensitive. The slow-flowering romance between Eugene and Ae-shin is a study in longing. Never seemingly able to consummate their love, the emotion conveyed despite the stillness of the actors when facing each other is incredible. They measure each other's moods perfectly, and it proves you don't need intimate scenes to portray a love story. Equally well acted is the depth of the unrequited feelings for Ae-shin from Dong-mei and Hui-song, and Kudo Hina to Dong-mei. The five leads start as rivals and perhaps even enemies, but eventually form an unshakable bond. And it's not so much a love triangle in the show as a love pentagon, perhaps. But the rest of the cast are outstanding too, with multiple nationalities and languages involved as well. Eugene himself speaks in the show fluent English, Korean, and Japanese, for instance. There is love and hate, betrayal and sacrifice, revenge and forgiveness, kindness and cruelty, nobility and baseness, and all swept up in the flow of unstoppable history. Tribute is beautifully paid to the unsung heroes of Joseon independence, and I would defy anyone to be unmoved by the final episode. Additionally, the cinematography is stunning. I mean, the show looks fantastic, with many incredibly beautiful scenes and shots that will stick in your memory. The visual beauty of Korea, the fantastic sets, and the excellent period costumes all look sumptuous on screen. And also the symphonic soundtrack is splendid, full of haunting themes and rousing motifs. In short, this was a deeply satisfying show, and I can't recommend it highly enough. Thanks for watching. If you liked this video, please leave a like and a comment, and check out some of my other content. Till next time, Gamsa Bidna and Jal Janida. Be well.